The following brief has been created with open source information found in books as well as on the internet. However, do take it with a pinch of salt, however, as some aspects have been kept secret due to said country's Official Secrets Act, or we just don't know, and sometimes the best place is actually Wikipedia. So with that said and done, let's get started with today's video. After the Second World War, Japan was bound under constitution to never possess an aircraft carrier, and also the Imperial Japanese Navy was now become the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, designed around self-defense of the home island. Gone are the days of the Kentai-Kasen Doctrine as well as the Kido Butai. Now they will be more heavily following America in terms of technology as well as their weapon systems. Japan would have its new constitution drawn up in 1947, under which the country would forever renounce war as a sovereign right of the nation and the threat of use of force when it comes to settling international disputes. This prevalent view in Japan is that of Article 9, of which the constitution allows of military force to be used in the purposes of self-defense. By the time of the start of the Cold War, Japan was being assisted by the American Navy for its home island defense. Japan would be similar to that of the United Kingdom, as it is an island nation that Russia would have to send vessels past to go anywhere. As such, the Japanese Navy would now be designed around the anti-submarine role, due to the Russian Pacific Fleet possessing many submarines quite near to the home islands. By the 1970s, the idea of a helicopter destroyer would come about in Japan, and this would be in the form of the Haruna class destroyer, designed around a massive hangar for 3 aircraft, with a large flight deck aft and guns and missiles up front. The ships would be similar to the British Tiger class in role when they would be used as helicopter cruisers. Being flagships of ASW action groups, this could be also seen with the Shireen class destroyers that would succeed the Harunas and would actually precede the Hyugas of today's video. Hyuga's design would seem to be derived from somewhat specifically from the Invincible class aircraft carriers and HMS Ocean from the Royal Navy in terms of layout as well as looks. The standout design from the previous classes would be that the Hyugas would have a full flight deck, giving her a definite appearance of an aircraft carrier. 2 ships would be designed for flagships of ASW groups, utilising multiple ASW helicopters. The 2 ships of the Hyugas would be Hyuga and Issei. These vessels would be 13,950 tons at standard and 19,000 tons at full load. They would be 197 metres long, 33 metres beam, and have a 7 metre draft. They'd be powered by a COGAG system comprising of 4 gas turbines producing 100,000 shaft horsepower through 2 shafts, powering 2 controllable pitch propellers for up to about 30 plus knots. The ship's complement would consist of 360 on Hyuga and 371 on the Issei. The radars and sonars for the ships would consist of the FCS-3 multifunctional Echo and India/Juliet emitters in separate emitters on the forward and aft ends of the superstructure. Capable of tracking targets out to 81 nautical miles, this system feeds data to the ship's weapon systems and is also used as the fire control radars. 1. OPS-20 Charlie Surface Search India Band Radar, capable of detection of targets out to 25 nautical miles. NOLQ-3 Charlie ESM and jamming systems in 2 separate emitters, port and starboard, capable of detecting radar emissions between the Alpha and Lima bands, giving the ships a range and bearing of said emissions. This system is the Japanese version to the American Slick 32 ESM system. For sonar, the ship sports a Oscar Quebec 21 bow-mounted sonar, and for direction finding, the ship also sports a TACAN system for direction finding for aircraft returning to the ship. The weapon systems for the ships would consist of 16 Mark 41 vertical launch cells, for either 16 evolved Sea Sparrow surface-to-air missiles, capable of hitting a target out to 24 plus nautical miles at over Mach 4. Aside from that, these cells are fitted for 12 ASROC anti-submarine missiles, capable of dropping a Mark 46 or Mark 54 torpedo out to 11.9 nautical miles, utilised as a standoff weapon against submarines. 2 20mm phalanx close-in weapon systems. These would be capable of 4,500 rounds per minute out to 1.4 nautical miles at a muzzle velocity of 1,100 meters per second. These mounts are capable of almost 360 degree coverage. Finally, she has 2 triple 324mm anti-submarine warfare torpedoes and multiple 12.7mm machine guns. The ship's aircraft complement would consist of a maximum of about 18 aircraft, but as standard they would only carry 3 SH-60K Seahawks and 1 mine-hunting Augusta Westland AW101 Merlin. The ship's flight deck would be designed as a large flat-top vessel, with a large full-length flight deck going from bow to stern. This flight deck would have 4 landing spots, named 1, 2, 3 and 4. These ships would sport 2 centerline aircraft lifts capable of accommodating an aircraft up to the size of a V-22 Osprey, giving these ships a vast array of versatility in operating multiple types of aircraft. Hyuga and Issei would be laid down between May 11th, 2006 and May 30th, 2008, taking about a year and a half to launch, and commissioning was about the same period of time, with the ships being commissioned between March 18th, 2009 and March 16th, 2011. The ships would be named after the 2 Issei-class dreadnoughts from the Imperial Japanese Navy. Hyuga would be named after the Hyuga province, and Issei would be named after the same. The ships would sport 2 different pennant numbers. Officially, these ships are DDH 181 and 182 respectively. However, their deck numbers would be 81 and 82. Hyuga would be the first into commission, and she would participate alongside the United States Navy in Annual X-21 Gulf, where she would operate alongside the Nimitz-class carrier, the USS George Washington, as well as other US and JMSDF vessels, designed to keep the interoperability between the United States Navy as well as the Japanese Navy in the Eastern Pacific regions. However, by 2011, the earthquake and tsunami that would hit Japan would bring Hyuga into the forefront, as she would be operating in the area, helping out with the relief effort, conducting search and rescue, as well as sending over food and medical supplies. Issei would have a commissioning brought forward so she could help with the relief efforts. By 2013, Hyuga would have the first landing of a V-22 Osprey when she was conducting trials off the coast of San Diego, whereas later in the year, Issei would be conducting disaster relief alongside the Philippines in search and rescue and providing medical assistance in the aftermath of the super typhoon Haiyan. By mid-June of 2017, Hyuga would operate alongside the Japanese ship Ashigara when they joined up with the Carrier Strike Group 1 and 5 off the coast of the Korean Peninsula due to the increase of nuclear activity in the north part of the country. As of November 3rd, 2020, current open source intelligence suggests that Hyuga is a flagship of Escort Squadron 3, based out of Maizura, and Issei is the flagship of Escort Squadron 2, based out of Sasebo. Both ships are in active service, and it's likely that these ships might be refitted in similar lines to the Izumo class to operate F-35B Lightning II aircraft. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Before you go, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with my latest videos, as well as commenting, and if you want to, subscribe to the Patreon page to support the channel. All I need to say is, here's a sneak peek at next week's video.